LSRTV mic test. All right, okay, so with all that, now I think we've got our audio feedback now. We were going to talk with our in-race reporter, Jeff Ward. We're about a half lap from green, so we will catch up with Jeff a little bit later on tonight. I guarantee you there's going to be at least one caution to do that in, Brian. One of those nights where it's Talladega. We know something crazy is going to happen. We don't know where it's going to happen, just that it's going to happen.
Yeah, that's the wild thing about Talladega, and they talk about it in the Cup Series, and actually in all three series, that this can be a wild card race for all the drivers. And you see a lot of guys like Jimmy Johnson and Dale Jr. and some of them, they'll have varying strategies. You'll see guys go to the back, you'll see guys stay at the front. You're going to see a whole different host of strategies tonight.
Getting set to rock and roll as we work off turn 4 down to the long front straightaway. The iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car is on the pit lane. We're glad you're with us here on LSRTV as we roll from Talladega Superspeedway. The field in the hands of Jose Gonzalez and William Kempf. Green flag in the air. We are underway for 75 laps, 200 miles as Gonzalez and Kempf get this field wound up to speed. A little further back in the pack, the 3 RCO Boomtown Sim cars shoot right to the bottom of the racetrack. They're going to try to hook up and see if they can't get in formation. We head for one, and we're wheel to wheel from first through about 8th as Matt Lacrosse slides down low.
First 8 cars coming up through the gearbox, up at speed right now. They're getting a little bit of separation from everybody. 9th on back. Now Thomas George gets behind the number 26 machine up at the front of the field there. That's going to be Jose Gonzalez on the pole. He shoves Jose clear of everybody else, and he's going to take the 5 of Scott Granberg with him as William Kempf now in the 22 Miller Lite Ford dies down to the bottom in front of the 21 of Matt Lacrosse there. Jeff Ward, the lone car out on the high side as everybody dashes to get single file here in the early stages of Talladega.
Yeah, we talk about the early stages. It's going to be Gonzalez-George, the tandem that is going to lead the opening lap here at the Talladega Superspeedway. And Brian, I know we talk about this, but the early stages of this race better be where everybody plays it a little bit safe and just feels out what they've got, because I can promise you right now, we get past the 2/3 point of this race inside the final 25 laps, it's going to be no holds barred at that point. It's going to be, as Justin says, all take, no give.
Well, I think what you're going to see here tonight is everybody's going to do exactly like you said. They're going to get in line, they're going to ride, and that's what we're seeing right now. Everybody's pretty much gotten single file through most of the field here. You see a couple of stragglers out on the outside line, but eventually those guys in the back, they're going to get tired of just riding back there. They're going to want to make something happen. They're going to want to make some moves, and if they can get with the right person, they can get up on that outside and maybe make a few passes, and that's when we're going to have to start watching for some chaos, because they're going to have to pinch the inside line and really try to hold them down and get the momentum in the side draft in order to get up there. And that's when you're going to start seeing problems.
And Ted, I think that's the hardest part. For these guys who start in the back, they've got to be careful not to fall off the back of this train too quickly. You lose the draft here in the early goings, you'll be down a lap before you know it, and then there's no chance to make that up.
As a driver here at Talladega, one of the most frustrating parts, it seems, is that at the beginning, you got to tell yourself we have a long way to go, especially at this 2.66 mile track. And so you don't want to jump the gun too early, cause a wreck, knock yourself out so early in the race, but at the same time, like I said, losing the draft can be horrible, especially at a huge track like this. And so as a driver, it's got to be incredibly difficult to try to find that medium right in between. And it definitely helps to have a good draft partner.
Yeah, you talk about partners. We have seen that early on. The 26 and the 1, Gonzalez and Thomas George, started first and third. They paired up from the drop of the green flag, and they have not looked back just yet. Behind them, Granberg and William Kempf, the 5 and the 22, and then the 21 and the 8, Matt Lacrosse and Chad Cole, a couple of teammates from the Four Wheels Racing stable. They're back there in 5th and 6th, so I think already we're seeing the pairings play out just a little bit. It's a chess match, Justin, at 195 miles an hour.
A chess match, that it is. 2 drivers in trouble in the early stages here on lap number 4 here at Talladega. The 68 of Scott Simley has lost the draft. He's 30 seconds behind the lead pack. He's actually only about 15 seconds or so from going a lap down. Derek Hyatt fell out of the server as well, so 2 drivers in trouble in the early stages. But it's all single file up front for about the first 15-20. Make that about 30 spots. Everybody in a line just trying to feel their cars out here in the early going. Guys ducking out, getting a little bit of air. First car out of line is going to be the number 10 of John Abbott, working to the outside of the 66 machine of Brian Harvey, flying similar colors to that of the 68 of Scott Sinley as well. So Abbott trying to work that side draft now out of 4. This is going to be a battle for around the 21st or 22nd position on the racetrack at the moment. Another driver out of line to meet him at the back bumper, the number 10, is going to be the 72 of David Kamara. Hooks up with the number 10 of Abbott, and they're starting to make their way to the front of that about 5th or 6th pack.
And see, that's the big thing, is right now back to about 16th or 17th spot. You've got everybody single file back to Jason Swan actually now in the 18th position in this first pack. And then from there, you got a couple of these little 4 or 5 or 6 car packs. So you've got an 18 car lead draft here in the early going, and nobody really wants to step out of line just yet for fear that they're going to be the one to get kicked to the back of the train and potentially lose it. I find that really playing it safe here, but then we've only got 6 laps complete this time when they get back to the line, and still a long way to go. Right at the back of the pack now, I'm seeing a couple guys step out of line, trying to make something happen. 59, James Thorndike. 38, Mark Bratcher, back around 15th and 16th. There to the outside, they're also trying to make some moves forward in 2.
Bratcher trying to shove that Captain America Camaro all the way up on the high side there, trying to get around the 84 of Jimmy North, and Mark Bratcher in the Real Deal Graphics Chevrolet. Then the 38, he's drifted a little off that bumper there to try to get some air to that nose in the corner, just trying to let everything sort out. These guys may fall back in line as they don't quite have the momentum to squeeze these guys on the lower line down, but number 2 with J. Randall Watkins right in front of them might offer a little bit of help there, trying to get some air to his nose. Gives a little bit of draft to that Captain America Chevrolet of Thorndike, and Thorndike starting to roll up to the quarter panel of Watkins and sets his sights on the RCO cars right in front of him in 1.
Keep an eye just ahead of them now on the 2 teammates from Steel Horse Racing around the 7th and 8th positions. Right behind Chad Cole in the 8th, you've got the 9 of Jeff Ward and the 15 of Dan Murray sitting there in line. Those 2 are the ones that I'm going to keep my eye on to try and really get ahead of steam going on the outside. But look at the 38 and the 59. Bratcher and Thorndike are coming. Lacrosse had aspirations of going to the outside, and the 21 ahead of them. Can't quite make it happen, but the 38 and the 59, again, Thorndike's really got a head of steam going. They've clawed their way up about to 7th on the outside lane, trying to do battle with the Steel Horse cars through the tri-oval.
Thorndike reaches the rear quarter panel of Steel Horse number Dan Murray in the 15 and starting to go to work on the 9 Award. He's got the 2-car tandem there rolling like a freight train there on the high side. Going to have to see if they can keep the momentum up or let it stall out. Lacrosse now looks to the high side as well as they're lapping Scott Sidley, who lost the draft in the early stages as well. Thorndike going to try to use the slipstream a little bit, stays to the inside of the 68 of Simley, and starts to lose a little bit ahead of steam as Ward and Murray now pull even door to door with Thorndike in 3.
They're using that side draft, Ted, and I love this. I love the new draft model because we've got the accurate effect of that side draft, I think, finally, in the sim. You can actually suck right up to somebody's door and stall them out better with this draft model than you ever have before. These 2 on the outside, Thorndike and Bratcher, they're really using that to their advantage right now, and it's really got them as far up this lane as they have already. I didn't expect the outside lane to work as well in the early goings, but they really have proved that it is possible to work. There's just a little bit too long of a train on the bottom for it to work well right now.
Well, the iRacing team has done a fantastic job with this new draft model, so much so that not only can you suck the air and stall the lower car, as Thorndike is trying to do, but you can also take the air out from under them. And if that happens, then you get a whole sort of another mess going if you take that driver out. But seeing Thorndike in that 59 car moving up with the number 38, man, they're doing a really good job. Bratcher and him have teamed up, and I think it's a match made in heaven as of right now because they're staying with that pack, and they're all by themselves up on the outside.
I'm waiting for somebody like Lacrosse and Chad Cole. If they get right up here like they're doing right now, even with Jeff Ward, you may see the 8 and the 21 jump to the outside with them, or at least the 21 of Lacrosse. He's thinking about going to the outside, staying in line for the moment, but we work down the super stretch towards turn 3. It's only a matter of time, and he lost his chance because Thorndike was right up there, even with the 21 going into turn 3. Now Cole draws back even. Again, it's a chess match, Justin, at 195 miles an hour, and these two cats on the outside, if they keep doing what they're doing, and I like what they're doing because they're not tucked right up against each other to where it's going to overheat the 38 of Bratcher. They're actually doing this with keeping what we call that cushion of air between the two cars. It's really paying off because you're not overheating the pusher's engine, so to speak, but at the same time, you're still able to make a lot of progress.
Yes, you can, and if you see the 21 there, Lacrosse, they're ducked out of line a little bit right across the nose of Chad Cole. Stalled the 59 out for a moment there. That's Thorndike there. He's working door-to-door alongside the 21 of Lacrosse right now. And like you said, that cushion of air, that's really only going to help Mark Bratcher. And you're going to see in the late stages of this race, somebody brave enough now. Lacrosse jumps to the high side. He's going to try to take advantage of that, but thinks better of it. Gets down in front of Chad Cole. I think he's trying to stall the momentum of Thorndike and Bratcher as you see that cushion of air start to dissipate as Bratcher looking to tandem up with the 59 of Thorndike and see if he can't give him a big run down the straightaway coming out of 2. Got trouble on the racetrack. Caution flag waving here on lap number 13. The 66 of Brian Harvey, the main cause of that accident, laying up against the inside wall right now. I'm hearing make contact with the 37, the Cheetos Chevrolet of J.R. Johnson. And replays going up right now, and you're going to see that the 37 and the 66 tangle, it looks like possibly going down into turn 1. It just hooked, giving a big old bumper hook, and almost out of the park goes the number 66 of Brian Harvey. Extreme damage on that Budweiser Chevrolet, and he's taking the long way around the toe back to the pit lane.
Under caution for the first time as we have 13 of 75 laps complete. We are going to continue battle from Talladega Superspeedway in a moment. We're going to do some business right now and be back right after these words with the RSR Asphalt Assault Series here on LSRTV. Jose Gonzalez, your race leader from Talladega.
Here's the thing that makes life so interesting. The theory of evolution claims only the strong shall survive. Maybe so. Maybe so. But the theory of competition says just because they're the strong doesn't mean they can't get their asses kicked. That's right. See, what every long shot come from behind underdog will tell you is this. The other guy may in fact be the favorite. The odds may be stacked against you, fair enough. But what the odds don't know is this isn't a math test. This is a completely different kind of test. One where passion has a funny way of trumping logic. So before you step up to the starting line, before the whistle blows and the clock starts ticking, just remember out here, the results don't always add up. No matter what the stats may say, and the experts may think, and the commentators may have predicted, when the race is on, all bets are off. Don't be surprised if somebody decides to flip the script and take a pass on yelling uncle. And then suddenly, as the old saying goes, we got ourselves a game.
Welcome back to LSRTV from the Talladega Superspeedway, the action track of motorsports. Jacob Seelman, Justin Rosenau, Ted Manning, Brian Macklin here in the broadcast booth as we're bringing you the Talladega 200 for the RSR Asphalt Assault Series. And Jose Gonzalez started from the pole. He has led all what's going to be 15 of 75 laps going on the board when they get to the start-finish line. So the Meatball Mobile has been dominant so far, and a host of cars going, I believe, all the way back, Justin, to about the 72 of David Kamara. So about the top 10 all stayed out under this first round of pit stops, under caution for trouble for the 66 of Brian Harvey. But you get back to the Miller Lite Machine, William Kempf, Thomas George, Jeff Ward, and on back from there, and everybody's at least come down for some early service.
Yes, they did, and I'm going to throw a nod to Brian Macklin during the commercial break there, talking amongst ourselves. You know, he made a really valid point in that if we go green and these guys have to make stops, not only are they going to lose that time on the track, they're also going to lose the extra amount of fuel, the time that it takes to refuel those cars, because like Brian said, it's going to be about 6 gallons, which equates to, you know, about a second and a half to maybe 2.5 seconds, depending on, you know, the quality of the pit stop that these guys are going to take down on pit road. So, you know, 2.5 seconds here is a country mile at this joint around the Talladega Superspeedway. And Brian, I believe you also made a really good point as well, especially about how the lead car has to use trail braking, I hear.
Yeah, well, with this new model that iRacing has put out this season, when you're the lead car, whether you're on the inside or the outside line, if you want to make a move, they have to trail brake and keep the car that's behind them connected to the bumper. If they don't do that, they don't really get as much momentum. It's almost kind of like what you've been seeing in real life here. You can't really do a whole lot with the draft. They're going to have to figure that out. James Thorndike and Mark Ratcher, they did an awesome job, but if they want to get to the lead, James is going to have to drag back to him and keep them connected if they want to go forward. The tandem still works, but that's the only way it works now. They've made it to where you can't stay connected as easily.
And while you guys have been having the technical discussion, I've been working with the radios here in the LSR TV booth and dial up our in-race reporter for tonight, Jeff Ward. We wanted to get in touch with you before we went green. Had a few audio issues on our end to where we weren't able to do that, but you found yourself sitting in a pretty good position here during that first stint. Came down for service. I know you've got to be pretty happy with where you're at right now. What's the plan for you guys when we go back to green?
Hey guys, nice to be chatting with y'all. Yeah, Jacob, it's, you know, I'm trying to run a little bit of a field strategy here with Thomas and Dan, and we're just trying to stick together, you know, kind of weather this storm a little bit and maybe avoid a big one if it happens here. But you know, the first run we just kind of cruised there, and then, you know, we're sitting about 13th here now, so I feel like I got a good car and got my teammates here with me, so we'll see what happens.
Really quickly, with this draft model the way it is, are the three of you going to be able to stick together, or is there going to be an odd man out later in this race?
It depends on how the cards fall. We'd like to try to stay together, but, you know, like that first run, I was running 3/4 throttle almost the whole run there, so you know, a couple guys get a run on us and so forth. You never know what could happen, but hopefully we can stay together.
We'll let you get to it, Jeff, and hopefully talk to you later in this race. Good luck.
All right, guys, enjoy the show.
All right, Justin, so that's the hottest driver in RSR of late and probably the coolest driver under pressure. He's going to have some traffic, though, to work through on this restart.
He does indeed. And you say cool under pressure. Let's go back to that Full Throttle Cup race at Texas. He had it given to him multiple times by Nathan Little and still came home with the victory. And that was one whale of a driving job by Ward, so I have no doubts he can make his way to the front as the pace car dives to the safety of pit road. Jacob, I believe we're going to get the green flag here in just a moment.
Waiting on it, waiting on it. There we go. American Ethanol green flag waves again. Jose Gonzalez back to the point. He does not have his race-long drafting partner alongside him now in Thomas George. George back there in the pack with his Steel Horse teammates, and Gonzalez going to have to deal with Scott Granberg, Matt Lacrosse, and Mark Bratcher, and it looks like the Meatball Mobile is a lonely, lonely machine off turn number 2. Gonzalez out there all by himself, Ted, and that is not the kind of position you want to be in. Now he's going to get some help from Matt Lacrosse, but it may be too late. He's got the battle on the high side.
You got the battle going. The number 5 jumping out onto the outside, that's Scott Granberg, and he seems to be holding his own with that number 38 Bratcher right behind him, but Jose Gonzalez all by himself out there on the bottom side. He's doing well, but the number 21 of Matt Lacrosse is coming up right behind him with 8 right on his butt, Jack Cole, and they're going to try to make it work, but that number 5, Scott Granberg, he seems to have gotten it, and if they can jump down below, he does.
First lead change of the night, and they do it from up top. Bratcher shoves Granberg to the point. Now the challenge on the inside down the super stretch as they work off turn 2. Gonzalez coming back down low.
Gonzalez coming hard in the Meatball Mobile. Uses that side draft and installed Granberg out in 1 and 2 and got the big run here. You're going to see, Granberg get that little run into turn number 3, and then you're going to start seeing Lacrosse, Gonzalez, Cole, the 41 of Mitch Rollo as well, and the RCO Boomtown guys as well on the inside line. Start to freight train these guys, because once you get up to the front of the pack, it's so easy to stall out on the high side. And Bratcher has been behind Granberg now for a couple of laps, and he's going to have to start getting some air to that motor there. And as he does that, he opens up that cushion a little bit. There's quite a big gap down below him. We may see Bratcher or Granberg even jump down to the bottom and leave one or the other all alone on the high side out of 2.
If I'm Scott Granberg, I'm trying to go to the inside, Brian. I mean, I don't want that hole to close up and me not get ready to lose all this track position, but you see those Boomtown guys, strong, coming up to try and close that gap, and they're going to do it right here. Nowhere for those cats on the outside to go.
Scott Granberg is one of the most dedicated drivers in this simulation. I've raced with him for a long time, and he's one of the best on restrictor plate races. It does not surprise me that he's out there, and when you're trying to make the outside line work, you have to stay committed. You can't decide you're going to get in line and try to do something else. You've got to be dedicated to the outside line. You've got to stick with it no matter how bad it gets. You just have to keep working at it. Eventually, something will go your way and you'll make the move. And you can see he's staying pretty much even with Jose Gonzalez all the way around here. He's eventually going to get clear and drop down to the inside and be our new leader.
I know that's what we're working for. I'm rather excited about it here. So you watch Gonzalez take it back on the inside for a minute, and now we've got problems for one of our top guys, Chad Cole, the 8 machine, just dropping out of the sim. That's never what you want to see, and Justin, that is a shocker, at least in my mind, because normally we don't see those kind of failures at all from the all-time champion in RSR competition. Really tough break for that 8 machine.
Yeah, Chad Cole, like you said, he is the all-time winningest driver. And, I honestly never in my time covering the real sim racing, whether it be the Full Throttle Cup Series or any of the series actually at RSR, him actually dropping out of a server. So this has got to be a rare moment for him. Frustrating for the number 8 machine as well. And we'll have to see if he rejoins the server. And I think he did, so we'll see him back on track in a few moments here. But nonetheless, that's going to take the number 8 Valvoline Chevrolet out of contention here at the Talladega Super Speedway. Looking back up towards the front, Granberg and Bratcher has some new help on the high side. The 22, the Miller Lite Ford of William Kemp now comes up to the back bumper of Bratcher now on the high side through the trioval.
We continue to watch this fight. 22 laps go in the record books, and Gonzalez has led all but one of them here. Now he's got a new partner to play with in the form of the 21 of Matt Lacrosse, and you look at these guys who pitted and took the strategy call here in the early goings, Brian, and they've not made much, if any, progress. Most of them are still pinned back in the 11th through about 18th positions right now. The one of Thomas George, the best of those.
I don't think that's something that they haven't planned out. I think they're doing that by design. They know that since they've got the extra fuel in their tank, when it comes time for everybody to have to do green flag pit stops, they're going to be going to the front, because once all those guys peel off, they're going to be the new leaders. And then when they do have to pit, it looks like they're going to be in a window where they'll only have to pit one time from here. They won't have to take as much fuel as the others. And Scott Granberg just got clear to the inside with Mark Bratcher for the lead.
We knew that move was going to pay off eventually, and it finally did. 23 laps in the record books, and that may be the first power move that I've seen all night long. Granberg to the point. Look at Gonzalez to the outside, trying to go with William Kemp.
Yeah, the Meatball Mobile jumps up in front of the number 22 of Kemp and thinks better but gets back down to the inside, allowing the Quick Car Racing Products Chevrolet of Matt Lacrosse to tow right underneath the 22 of Kemp, and it's a 5-car breakaway at the front of the pack, and it's a big stack in that second pack, as you're seeing James Thorndike in the 59 now. It's almost 3 wide in the trial. Thorndike outside the 43, Rich Jett the 81 in tow. That's Keith Brooks Jr. as well. Good run for Keith Brooks, as he's not had the best of luck here in the Real Sim Racing Series as well. Has the 10 of John Abbott, the 84 of Jimmy North up on the high side as well. Working out of 2. Thorndike's coming to the front again. He's going to use that signature outside move he's been showing all race long.
How about a change in the pairings up towards the front of the field? Now Jose Gonzalez in the 26 is the one that's left without a drafting partner. Matt Lacrosse, William Kemp, 21 and 22, hooking up there to the outside. They want a piece of the lead off turn 4.
Lacrosse digging hard out of 4, has the big run off the front bumper to the Penske's color number 22 of William Kemp, who ducks down to the bottom and leaves Lacrosse now out to dry. So much gain, so much loss for the number 21 machine of Matt Lacrosse. That's going to allow the 26 of Jose Gonzalez as well to come up to the back bumper of William Kemp's machine. We're playing musical chairs up front at the field, folks, here, and that's going to allow the RCL Boomtown guys of Mitch Rollo, Christopher Hurlow, and Anthony Gabarro as well to start crafting up to the back bumper of your leaders now on the back straightaway.
1/3 distance here from the Talladega Super Speedway, and the change for the lead has left Scott Granberg, the restrictor plate veteran, out in front of the field. We are coming to complete 26 this time, but still a long way to go from one of NASCAR's action tracks. As you watch the battle for the lead, we're going to go side by side so you don't miss a minute of it, and we'll be back with more from Talladega in just a moment. Granberg, Bratcher, Kemp, Lacrosse, Gonzalez, your top 5.
slides it into 4. Who's going to be at the stripe? Dead even. Give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tanner.
Welcome back to the Talladega Super Speedway, and the battle for the lead is heating up. The 3-car train on the outside, the red and blue entries, the RCO Boomtown Sim Squad, led by the 41 of Mitch Rollo, doing battle for the lead right now with the 5 of Scott Gramberg, who holds it by 38 one-thousandths of a second, headed for turn 1. He may not be keeping it much longer, though, Justin, because these boys are coming, and they got a full head of steam off, too.
Well, we've seen the outside line work when William Kemp got up on the high side and helped Granberg and Bratcher win a big shot as the 3rd car in that group. They really need Anthony DeBarro in that 46 to really hook up and give them that extra 400 horsepower in that Chevy Camaro there, as 1200 horsepower is better than 800, and we all know the more horsepower you have, the more power you're going to use to go to the front. As the 41 of Mitch Rollo now dives to the inside line, kind of gives up on the outside there with the 07 of Christopher Hurlo and Navarro now on the outside coming through the tri-oval. That's going to allow the 21 of Matt Lacrosse, who has some strange antics going into 3, a few laps to go during the side-by-side there, screaming yeehaw on the radio. And yeah, he's now getting back up towards the front there, and that's going to bring the 2 of J. Randall Watkins and the 1 of Thomas George as well. All the guys that made pit stops, they're slowly creeping their way back up now as the 2 RCL Boomtown cars on the high side, they're going to start to fall back single file on the super stretch.
Yeah, if Matt Lacrosse is going yeehaw over the radio, Brian, I can easily come up with a new nickname. Maybe, you know, we need to go back to Texas at some point. We can call him the Cowboy.
Oh man, that would be awesome. Yeah, he's having fun. That's the whole point behind this, and he's one of the best drivers out here. He's had a lot of bad luck, and this is a great equalizer for a lot of guys, and I'm sure he's looking to turn his season around by getting a good finish here, but he's also trying to have fun at the same time, and I'm just really impressed with how clean this race has been. I really thought we would have a little bit of carnage by this point.
Yeah, we're approaching halfway, and Ted, the field is starting to be back together. It's starting to shuffle a little bit more as we see Gonzalez shoot to the high side for an instant. You get the feeling the hornet's nest is about ready to get stirred up just a little bit.
We were sitting there at break, and every 5 seconds we were just going, woo! Because, I mean, just the hair's starting to stand up on you because of all these ditching and diving and jumping up and down we've been seeing. And the strangest thing about it is, well, I guess maybe not that strange, is as we were at break, that whole back line, I mean, we had a 5-car separation, and it looked like they were gone. And now all of a sudden, you got 20 cars deep, all in a single file line, once again, give or take 2 that are on the high side. And so that itself is just going to open up a whole nother game changer. Those Boomtown boys got split up, but, I mean, there was 3 of them, and one's in the main draft, so it ain't that bad.
Not at all. And Brian, you and I think, have been talking about it during the break, and you know, your friends are close, but every once in a while, your competitors are even closer. We come down to the end of this race, and it may not necessarily be about who's got the most friends. It may be about the guys that end up, you know, not the teammates that end up working together. We say your friends are where you find them as Boomtown headed to pit road.
Yeah, the Boomtown boys are on their one-stop pit stop strategy here, hitting pit road. But like you were saying, yeah, when you get down to the end of the race, you have teammates and you'd love to work with them, but you may not always have that opportunity. And when it gets down to 10 to go, 5 to go, you just pretty much have to hook on to whoever you can, and that's who you are with until the end of the race, unless something crazy happens and shuffles everything up. I've raced in these races a lot of times with teammates, and it's so hard to stay committed to them at the end of the race, unless it's a very small pack trying to win the race.
And we saw the Boomtown guys come down pit road. That also allowed for a brief lead change. Jose Gonzalez taking it for an instant at lap 35. This time by the stripe. Looks like it's going to go back to the 5 of Scott Granberg by about a car length, and indeed it will. So Granberg back to the point as you see the Boomtown guys exiting pit road. They're going to lose a lap. For the meantime, it'll come back around eventually, though, as we mentioned, these guys having to take a little bit more fuel, Ted. They're going to be a few seconds behind this main draft when it all cycles out.
And the only thing that they're not looking for, or they are looking for, is a caution, you know. If that comes out, I mean, boom, pit strategy and all is just out the window. Very, very neat thing to be looking at is when these cars start grouping up and everything, towards the end, people are going to have to start picking teammates, those that aren't on a team. And so that'll be very interesting to see who does that and what. But going back to the whole teammate thing towards the end, I mean, it's anybody's game, you know? I mean, me personally, when it comes down to one lap to go and you see that checkered line at the end, you kind of want to go for it, and you want to just be like, well, there's no more teammates anymore, you know what I mean?
Tough lap for the 07 of Christopher Herlo from the RCL Boomtown camp. Too fast entering pit road, had to serve a 15 seconds stop and go penalty on pit road, and it's going to be tough luck on him. He's going to still be about a lap down or so once, because he's all by himself. He's totally out of the draft, and he's actually the first car on track a lap down, and he's well off the pace of your leaders right now. So it's going to be quite a while as more cars hit pit road this time. It's going to look like it's going to be the 21 of Matt Lacrosse all by his lonesome in the quick car Chevrolet. He's on pit road. We'll get his service covered for you here in just a moment, as well as the rest of your leaders who stayed out are staying out.
Yeah, Lacrosse is a very lonely man as we just completed halfway, this time by 38 complete, 37 to go with Scott Granberg, your leader, as we're watching the 21 of Lacrosse on pit road. He'll get 4 tires and a full tank of virtual Sunoco race fuel, or we would assume 4 tires, but I actually think I only saw 2 that time, Justin, unless I was just completely blindsided by that. Why not go ahead and take 4 here if you know you've got to take the extra fuel?
It's about 2 seconds longer to take 4 tires and a full tank of fuel at the Talladega Superspeedway, and time is everything. It's not like you can ask your crew guys to hit 4 lug nuts or 3 lug nuts like you do at some short tracks and stuff. They got to hit all 5, and you need pretty much right side tires, because when I did the Daytona 500 here on iRacing, which was a disaster, by the way, if you ask me, canceling the race and the whole like, I took left side tires on one stop, and by the time I come around to the next round of pit stops, guys, I was about ready to hit the wall a dozen times because I burned up the right side. So why not take just right side tires? You're not really using those left sides all that much. So in actuality, I think it's a great call to take just right sides.
Fair enough. And Brian, I know you're not guy in the driver's seat right now, but we continue to watch this chess match play out, and this time by 40 of 75 laps complete. So we're coming down real shortly to this final stint, and I really wanted to wait until we get everybody cycled through in order to run through the full field rundown, but it seems like we're only getting them in little spurts, about 1, 2, maybe 3 cars pitting every lap. It's not like we're seeing this huge lead pack all come down at once just yet, and I'm a little surprised by that.
Well, I can tell you as a driver that pitting with the entire pack is the one thing you don't want to do, and I'm not so sure that what Matt Lacrosse did was the right decision because he pitted by himself, but when you have teammates in the race, that's the perfect way to pit. And Jose Gonzalez apparently pitted by himself as well. You want to try to pit with your teammates and get down there on pit road when it's just the couple of cars that you're with. That way you can get on and off cleanly without having to worry about getting ran into or having to check up because somebody slowed up quicker than you. This is not surprising to me at all, actually, because you're going to see the teammates start to pair off and pit like you saw the Boomtown boys. Unfortunately, Christopher Hurlow had his speeding penalty, but they were set up really nicely to do what they were trying to do.
So what we're going to do is step back side by side with 42 of 75 laps complete when these leaders get back to the start-finish line. Scott Granberg is still your race leader, and we'll be back with more from Talladega Superspeedway as we'll hold off on that for just a minute. Scott Granberg, your leader, Mark Bratcher, the 38, the two guys pitting from the point, Justin, and we'll send it down to pit road really quickly.
Waiting for that number 5 as well, and there's caution on the speedway. These guys are going to be trapped.
You know what? That may actually turn out to be a blessing in disguise for them, because it all depends on when the leaders ping at the start-finish line, Justin. If that caution got out before they actually flashed across the stripe, this may be a good thing. Anthony DeBarro is claiming it from the Boomtown squad. They stopped. I believe Granberg may have at least gotten fuel right here. I don't know that he got tired, but this could be a blessing in disguise for the 5 and the 38. We're going to see the replay right here as DeBarro taking the blame for this one, and Justin, just one of them there Talladega situations.
Kind of a weird situation there. It might have been some kind of glitch with the sim. Got the tail car to actually spin around on the racetrack. It almost looked like the front end of that 46 machine come off the ground there. Comes around, brings out the caution flag here on lap 42. It's going to reset the game here as you're going to see the rest of the guys come down pit road when they get to the back of the pace car. This is going to change the game, like you said, and some of the guys may have been on pit road when the caution waved. I don't think everybody got to pit road before the caution flag waved, and we'll see who is the odd man out.
I can draw this comparison, and Brian, I don't know if you happened to see it back in February, but I'll draw this comparison like this, taking another look at that incident with Anthony DeBarro. It almost, to me, looked like the same kind of incident that we saw bite the 51 of Tyler Laughlin. If you remember that incident back to the Peak Antifreeze Series race at Daytona when he was the pusher to Ray Alfala at the tail end of that race, and it was the rear car in that case that got spun. It was just one of those weird occurrences with the sim, but that's about the only thing I can draw a comparison to this wreck. It looked to me like it was a little bit similar.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing. It's a really rare thing to see where the pushing car ends up going around, but it just almost looks like he got into him at the wrong place, and maybe there's a little bit of a connection issue between the two. You can't really tell. And when they made that contact, it just sent the 46 on around. It's an unfortunate thing, but we're playing in a simulator, and unfortunately it's not going to be 100% accurate 100% of the time, and I think that's just one of those issues that it can't really be I can't even talk.
You're trying to describe it there, Brian. We get it. It's Talladega. It's crazy. Lead change, Keith Brooks Jr. to the front as we cycle through a whole bunch of pit stops for the race leaders. We'll reset it when we come back. We're going to get that break in now. You're watching the RSR Asphalt Assault Series presented by Inside Sim Racing here from the Talladega Superspeedway. This is LSRTV.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks in terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among the best in the business. I'm proud of our people and what they can achieve. Trucking is in my blood It's my livelihood, and it's what I do best.
Truex on the outside, contact made. 56 slides it at a 4. Who's going to be into the stripe? Dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Welcome back to LSRTV. Getting ready for a restart here at the Talladega Super Speedway, and when we get a chance here in just a moment, we will bring you through the entire Ford Performance full field rundown, getting set to go back under the green flag here in about a lap or so. Keith Brooks Jr., your race leader. Thomas George up to number 2 position. Dan Murray, 3rd. William Kemp, 4th. Jeff Ward, the rest of your top 5 after pit stops. Let's go ahead and go down the leaderboard, Justin. James Thorndike up to 6th. John Abbott restarting 7th. Jimmy North, 8th. Greg Omo, 9th. Rich Jett subbing for Doug Roth in that 43 car, rounding out the top 10.
Positions 11 through 20 will be the 7 of Kevin Pearson. The 68 of Scott Simley gets back on the lead lap. He's in 12th. The 18 of Jason Swan will be 13th. The 21 Matt Lacrosse, 14th. Jose Gonzalez, the meatball machine, rounds out the 15th place there, The 5 of Scott Granberg will take the restart from the 16th spot. Mark Bratcher in the 38 in 17th. 88 Paul Williams in 18th. Brian Clark in the 89 in 19th. And the 2 of J. Randall Watkins rounds out your top 20.
The number 75 of David Killaw is in the 21st position. 22nd is Ed Williams Jr. in the number 65. 23rd is Mitch Rollo, number 41. 24th is Steve Herring. 25th, David Camara. 26th, Anthony DeBarro. 27th, Derek Hyatt. 28th, Chad Cole. 29th in the 07 is Christopher Hurlow. 30th is J.R. Johnson, number 37. And then number 66, Brian Harvey is in the 31st.
J.R. Johnson, Brian Harvey, both cars, I believe, out of this race. But that's a look at your Ford Performance full field rundown with 47 to 75 laps in the books. Ford go further. And as it stands right now, 7 official lead changes, including the most recent one to put Keith Brooks Jr. out in front of the field with what's going to be about 28 laps to go when we get the American Ethanol green flag again. The iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car heads for the pit lane, and we're working through the tri-oval here at the world's fastest super speedway. Keith Brooks, Thomas George, green flag back in the air, and we are back underway here at Talladega. Brooks and the guy pushing him, that's GoPro AccuDoc number 15 of Dan Murray, rolling into turn number 1 and the 33 degrees of banking as the field fans out behind them. There's a lot of shuffling going on. It's go time.
The 7 of Kevin Pearson just lagged out big time there, causing everybody to scatter on the racetrack. Keith Brooks Jr., what a run for the 81 iPower Night Stalker Motorsports entry. Keith Brooks has not had a lot of luck at all in real sim racing, but yet he finds himself up front here. And guys, I'm going to cheer him on. I hope he takes the victory here at Talladega. 2 cars, 2 tandems side by side. You got the 81 of Brooks Jr. and the 15 of Dan Murray as well. On the inside line, the 22 William Kemp and the 1 of Thomas George, and a familiar face right behind them on the high side, the 59 of James Thorndike. He's going to put himself up in the top 5.
Falling back through turn number 1. Lead change by 8/1000ths of a second at the stripe. Thomas George to the top of the leaderboard as we work down the super stretch. Ted, this is where it gets fun because you see everybody scrapping for space, and now Keith Brooks is a lonely man because William Kemp had his momentum broken, and you got no help down there now. Once you lose that momentum, it's so hard to get it back. Or check that, the 59, the 15 and the 59, Murray and Thorndike were the ones that got the momentum broken behind him.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun for us, not so fun for the drivers, especially if you're up there in one of the top spots and you're dicing back and forth. Actually, the number 21 of Matt Lacrosse almost got a little sideways there. He had to dip back down below coming into the tri-oval, but now he's back up top, and he is trying to make his way, make that top line work with the number 15 GoPro car, Dan Murray, trying to lead the pack up top. We'll see if at the high side, at that high line, can still make some moves like it did earlier on in the race. But so far, that bottom line is very dominant and is being led by that number 1 car, Thomas J. George.
Pop quiz, Justin, since we were just talking about him in the 15 on the high lane. Whose car is Dan Murray's an imitation of in that GoPro AccuDoc machine?
You're gonna have to forgive me because I'm drawing a big old blank because my mind is solely focused on that Hershey's car to the inside, the man who etched his name on the virtual Harley J. Earl Trophy. Rich Jett, winner of the Daytona 250 in the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series. He's up inside the top 10 after riding outside the top 20 all race long, and he's up front now with inside of 25 laps to go here at Talladega. Out of 2 into the super stretch, big battle for the lead.
Battle is for the lead. Thomas George has it. Keith wants it. Rich Jett's up there as well. For those of you who are playing along at home, Dan Murray's 15 is a pull off the GoPro AccuDoc number 98 K&M Pro Series East car of Rico Abreu, and if Murray has as big a right foot as Rico does in the closing laps of this race, we could have some fun on our hands with that 15 car. Meanwhile, 2 guys up front who may take the underdog role of the night. Ted, as we're going 3 wide back at the pack, but I'm more interested on Jimmy North and John Abbott down low in 1.
They go down low in 1. Man, what fantastic racing as they come out of turn number 2 onto the backstretch. That 59 car of James Thorndike, man, 3 wide, that was very hairy. They go back down to 2 wide on the backstretch to head out into 1. That was some very exciting races. You can tell that these guys are definitely becoming a little itchy, a little scratchy in the back. They want to try to make their way up to the front. They're getting antsy. And so it might be just a matter of time before something occurs up at front. But we're back to single file racing with a couple in the back. In the back, that number 88 car, the Tax Slayer car, he almost got a little bit loose, but they jump back in line as the Boomtown boys are up on the high side trying to make things work.
Boomtown's back up top where they like it. The 88 Paul Williams was the guy who had a little bit of a moment. Boomtown going 3 wide, running the Dale Earnhardt Jr. line around the Talladega Super Speedway. High, wide, and handsome are the 41 of Mitch Rollo and the 07 of Christopher Hurlow. They're trying to make some hay down the back straightaway, trying to build that momentum. Rock and roll. Keith Brooks is up there. James Thorndike is up there. We got 3 groups going on at Talladega. We head for turn 3, and the story up front still the one of Thomas George. He leads it.
Thomas George out front with no drama with the 22 of William Kemp in tow. But it's going to be a long train of running. We got 3 sets of tandems up front on the high side. Got Thorndike with the 21 of Matt Lacrosse now jumping up to the high side, trying to steal the momentum from Thorndike, as Thorndike now uses that sucker hole as he goes up and uses the side draft off of the 21 of Lacrosse to try to pull even with him going into 1. Gets even lower on the racetrack, really starting to pinch that inside line now to try to use every advantage to rock it down the back straightaway. As he does so as Lacrosse again tries to throw the block on the Captain America Chevrolet in the super stretch.
Single file through the front 7, and then it's 2 by 2 on back from there. Jose Gonzalez, the last man free. Matt Lacrosse is trying to break free in that 21 quick car entry as they are working. You got Thorndike up there, Keith Brooks, the Boomtown boys. It's still 2 by 2 from about 9th on back. Out front, it's George, Kemp, and now Jimmy North trying to make it a 3-car breakaway out front.
Jimmy North trying to do everything he can, and by the way, great run for Jimmy North. Usually finds himself in trouble around mid-pack or so in the Cup Series. and in the Asphalt Assault Series as well when he does get his chances to participate. Great run for him right now, all on his own some right there, trying to use the 10 of John Abbott there, but really starting to pull away from him as well. Again, single file, and now you got the Boomtown boys back up on the high side, like you said, high, wide, and handsome. And my catchphrase, oh, car in the wall, Mitch Rollo, we got big trouble. Keith Brooks and Junior involved, cars going around, caution flag waves on lap 55. It's going to be inside of 20 laps to go here at Talladega.
Caution flies with 20 to go, and that started by a squeeze of the Boomtown guys coming on the outside. They were almost 4 wide going into turn 3. It was the 59 of Thorndike who got tagged by the 21 of Matt Lacrosse, squeezed both of the Boomtown cars up into the wall. They came down the racetrack. Keith Brooks is in it. The 5 of Scott Gramberg is in it. The 38 of Mark Bratcher is in it. The 7 of Kevin Pearson's involved. It's a mess down there in turn number 3. I think the worst of the damage probably to the 81 of Keith Brooks Jr., but a bunch of good cars all wadded up down on the south end of the speedway.
Tough luck for the 81 of Keith Brooks Jr. I was really cheering him on to try to take the victory, and he's going to come up well short of that, probably going to end up outside of the top 20. Heavy front-end damage on the iBuyPower Chevrolet Camaro as he's to the attention of his pit crew, and they're wailing on it with hammers and sawzalls. They're trying to do everything they can to make that car aerodynamically efficient as possible, but I highly doubt we're going to see Keith Brooks Jr. up front again here at Talladega.
I count at least 6 cars involved in that one, and Brian, we were waiting on it. We were waiting on the Hornet's Nest to break loose, and there you go.
Well, that was a product of the laps running out and drivers getting antsy, and they wanted to try to start getting to the front, and carnage just ensued. You always see the big one when you come to Daytona or Talladega, and unfortunately for these guys, I don't think that was the last one. We're getting down to inside 20 to go, and time's running out. For those guys in the back, they've got to start making moves. They're going to be a lot more aggressive when they go back green. Nobody here has to worry about fuel. This is all about just get up there and try to make as much ground up as you can. And this is about to get crazy. I'm really excited for what we're about to watch.
It's going to be fun. I'm looking at this top 10 right now, and my eyes are bugging out of my head because you got names like Jimmy North, John Abbott, Greg Omo, Rich Jett, Jason Swan, all up in this mix. We'll get a full rundown when we come back. We're going to take our final break and bring you commercial-free to the checkered flag right after this from Talladega Superspeedway. This is the RSR Asphalt Assault Series presented by Inside Sim Racing. Thomas George, your leader.
Here's the thing that makes life so interesting. The theory of evolution claims only the strong shall survive. Maybe so. Maybe so. But the theory of competition says just because they're the strong doesn't mean they can't get their asses kicked. That's right. See, what every long shot come from behind underdog will tell you is this. The other guy may in fact be the favorite. The odds may be stacked against you, fair enough. But what the odds don't know is this isn't a math test. This is a completely different kind of test. One where passion has a funny way of trumping logic. So before you step up to the starting line, before the whistle blows and the clock starts ticking, just remember out here, the results don't always add up. No matter what the stats may say, and the experts may think, and the commentators may have predicted, when the race is on, all bets are off. Don't be surprised if somebody decides to flip the script and take a pass on yelling uncle. And then suddenly, as the old saying goes, we got ourselves a game.
Welcome back to LSRTV under caution, working what's going to be about 16 laps to go when we get back to the green flag. Cleaning up from our first big caution of the race at lap 55, about a 6 or 7 car melee, and it's going to put James Thorndike to the tail of the line. Justin, I know he claimed the caution. Not really sure, though, that he's actually the one that started it. It started when he and Matt Lacrosse kind of came together, headed down the tail end of the super stretch. Lacrosse shoved the 59 up the racetrack a little bit. The 59 came into the 41 of Mitch Rollo, and it was just on from there.
It certainly was. Thorndike, a classy racer nonetheless, probably felt like he could have backed out of it, thus claiming the caution. Gonna find him at the tail end of the field, but not all is lost. If he gets hooked up with the right car, like say the 8 of Chad Cole, he could steamroll his way back up to the front in about 10 laps or so and really find himself in position to really go win the thing, especially if there's a quick caution as well and he's up about 10 spots or so.
Hey, Brian, before we go back green, I got 2 words for you. Sitting in 4th, John Abbott. The 10 car is up in the front of this field. I don't know that we normally ever expect this except at Daytona and Talladega, but I'm loving the runs by Jimmy North and Abbott right now, the 84 and the 10. If they can get tandemed up on this restart, I think that's the pairing you got to watch.
Darrell Waltrip has said it a million times, and you'll probably hear him say it a dozen times this weekend. The draft is the great equalizer, and that's exactly what we're seeing right here. Guys like John Abbott, Jimmy North, guys you don't normally see up front, they have a shot at it tonight, and it's thanks to the draft.
This is where it all gets fun, because we're an hour into this race, and it all comes down to the final 16-lap sprint. Sit back, fasten your seatbelts, and get ready to enjoy, because it all comes down to this on LSR TV. Ready to roll for the American Ethanol restart. Green flag in the air. Thomas George, William Kemp lead the field to the start-finish line and down towards turn number 1. Time to roll here in Talladega.
On the loud pedal is the 22 of William Kemp with help from the 10 of John Abbott, who's all over that back bumper, glued to that Miller Lite Ford. He's trying to shove William Kemp off the high line there, get that big run down the hill. He's going to try to put him in front of Thomas George, and does so, but does not quite have the number 1 Snap-on Chevrolet cleared. And we are in crunch time, folks. It is no more give and take. It is all grab and go from this point forward.
You've been waiting all night to say that, Justin, and you watch the 22 of Kemp get clear. Problem is, it leaves Abbott out to dry. He falls back into the inside lane, just behind Jimmy North. I'm telling you, that's the tandem you gotta watch for. 84 and 10 if we get going into the late stages. 15 laps to go at the start-finish line.
Kemp all alone out front with a little help from the 1 of Thomas George, who now looks to the high side, tries to get a little bit of air to the motor, that number 1 machine. Kemp in a kind of an unfamiliar position as well. We were talking about Jimmy North and John Abbott as well. Strong run for that 22 car as well. You also see the 91 of Greg Hummel finally work his way into the top 5. He started deep in the field, starting in the 23rd starting position as well. He's got the 15 of Dan Murray and the 26 of Jose Gonzalez as well in tow. Got the 21 of Matt Lacrosse as well, who was kind of involved in that last incident as well. Rich Jett and everybody completing around the top 10 or so. And let's give a shout out to the house car, Jason Swan. Where has this guy come from? He's on the back bumper of Jeff Ward in the number 9. And, man, gotta love them LSR TV covers flying on that number 18 Chevrolet as well.
Gotta love it indeed, but I'm not surprised by this run late in the going. That Swan number 18 is a Steel Horse Racing machine, so he's back there in this lead pack, about 13 cars strong right now. Caboose. Oh, we're trouble. Caution flag. They're wrecking in the second pack. James Thorndike in it again, Justin.
Yeah, Thorndike is around. The number 98 of Stephen Herring is around as well. Another car involved, the 68 of Scott Simley. He got heavy rear end damage on that Budweiser Ford as well. Tough luck for all 3 involved, but that's going to rack them and stack them. Replay going back up on your screen, you're going to see the trouble that happened with those 3 cars there, and it looks like it's just a bumper hook, but going 3 wide with the 59 of Thorndike. The 8 of Chad Cole gets a little bit of piece of that as well, and heavy damage to the 3 cars, the 98, the 59 and the 68 as well. That's going to leave us with a short 4 or 5 lap dash here at the Talladega Super Speedway. And I gotta say, if we go 1 lap clean and get a quick caution, that's probably going to put William Kemp in victory lane here tonight.
Don't be so sure about that, because the biggest thing about the caution came out at lap 62, Justin. So you consider we'll go back green with about 9 laps to go. That's plenty of time to have another quick caution and still have a 3 or 4 lap shootout.
Yeah, I was just having a case of Jacob math issues there. So yeah, I was thinking lap 70 was the cutoff. Nope, 75 laps. You are correct. So we're going to be inside of 10 to go when we go back green flag racing. Going to put us, like you said, green with about 8 or 9 laps to go. So anything can indeed happen. You know, even the one or maybe somebody like Jimmy North makes a wild move to the front. Time will only tell as we're under the caution flag here. Completing lap number 63, putting that one in the books and looking at 12 laps to go at Talladega this time by.
I'm going to see if I can't dial up our in-race reporter, Jeff Ward, on the radio. While I'm doing that, Brian Macklin, this is what we've been waiting an hour and a half to get ready to see.
Yep, it's almost 10 laps to go. This is where everybody's going to be up on the wheel trying to get everything they can. And taking an old Larry Mack phrase, they're going to have to pull them seatbelts tight one last time here because it's about to get crazy.
It's about to get crazy, and from the driver's seat, let's see if we can't dial him up one more time. Jeff Ward, Jacob Seelman in the LSRTV booth. All right, my friend, we're going to have about 9 laps to go when we go back racing. You and I both know it all comes down to this. Is there any strategy you guys can employ at this point, or is it just go forward and see what happens?
Yeah, Jacob, you really got to hang it all out here. You know, I got a couple butterflies going here because I know it's going to get crazy and probably be dodging a few wrecks here. But we got a little damage there. One time there going in the corner, somebody checked up in front of me and I got tapped in the rear there and got the back end bent up a little bit. So we'll see what we can do. It's you never know. You never know. It's Talladega, so just hold it to the floor and pray.
You got some Steel Horse teammates up there. I know one of them, Thomas George, is going to be on the front row for this last restart, but you've got Jason Swan, Dan Murray, all right there with you. Is there anybody that you're looking at potentially working with here in the final few laps to try and see if you can't get up there?
Rich has a good car here in front of me. I think if he heads out to the outside lane there, I might try to tuck in under him and see if we can't make some headway towards the front. And might stick with him or hook up with my teammates if I get up there. So, but like I said, the car is a little off. So, and we also haven't taken tires this whole race. I think some other guys took right side. So, we'll see what happens.
I'm intrigued by that, the whole no tires strategy the entire race, Jeff. I know we've seen that a few times, more so on the sim than I think we do in real life, but it's something you guys can make work. Was there any rhyme or reason to that, or was it more out of necessity the later you got in this race?
Well, that second round of pit stops there, I had planned on taking right sides with Dan and Thomas, but I knew I had a little bit of that rear end damage, so I want to try to get that fixed and try to save a little time. So, you know, just cards fell that way, and I end up not taking tires the whole race. So, a little bit of odd man out here, but don't count us out just yet. You never know.
We know anything can happen in the draft, and we also know that you're one of the guys with a pretty heavy right foot. So we'll let you get to it, Jeff. Best of luck here in the final sprint.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Ted Manning, so you heard it right from the guy himself. Jeff Ward on an alternate strategy. I'm really intrigued by this as we get down to the tail end. This is going to be fun.
I think Ted's playing a little bit of Dave Moody up in the turns. I think he's gone to sleep a little bit there, Jacob.
we love our friend Dave Moody, and we mean it with all due respect. So, Justin, I guess I'll pose the same question to you, my friend. What do you think about the alternate strategy for Ward and even a couple of these other guys in the middle of the pack?
His head's in the right place with the no tires and trying to fix damage thing. He really needs that car to be about as right aerodynamically as it can possibly be. He's got a big old sail on the back of him with that damage there, Jacob, and it's a good strategy call on that end to really get that damage fixed and try to get himself in a better position to get up towards the front. You know, it's the guys with 2 tires up front that probably have the best race cars to go to the finish there. They have a little bit more grip so they can make those wild maneuvers and not suffer the consequences by drifting all the way up and into the wall coming out of turn number 2 especially.
Okay, I think we've unbootified Mr. Ted Manning now. So, Ted, 9 to go when we get this restart. Got some guys on alternate strategy. We know this is about to get crazy. Where do we look on this restarter? Is it one of those where you've got 20 cars on the lead lap and any one of them still is in this?
Absolutely, because up front you have to know that they're just going to be dipping and dodging and trying to get that top spot. You know, and with 1 lap to go, like I said, I don't care who you are out there. Your friends are gone. You got no friends. You have no teammates. If you want to win, then you're going to win. And you're going to do everything in your power to win. And that's going to cause a lot of problems up front when you have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, even 10 drivers all trying to get that top spot or that top 3 finish. And that's going to let those guys back in the 15th spot who are waiting patiently to watch for something to happen, try to get up there and try to make something out of nothing. You know, so anybody at this point can win in my eyes. And so it's going to be an absolutely amazing finish. It's going to be exciting.
The 2 guys in prime position are on the front row as the iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car gets ready to head for the safety of pit lane. Question will be, is that the last time tonight we'll see it? We don't know. We're thinking probably not. Right now, the field in the hands of William Kempf and Thomas George. They're really backing it up, heading through the tri-oval, waiting on that American Ethanol green flag. It goes in the air. We stack up. We're underway here with 66 laps in the record books. Down to turn number 1 they go. It's 2 by 2 by 2. Now 3 wide, a little bit further back in the pack. Here comes Thomas George, John Abbott. They're shoving to the outside in 1.
And we got a little bit of trouble. Kemp is loose contact with the 10 of John Abbott. It's going to 3-4 wide. Trouble behind them. Several cars spinning, ducking, dodging into the wall in the back straightaway. That may bring out the caution flag, but no caution flag as of yet. The man up front, the 1 of George with 84, Jimmy North in tow in 3.
Did I not tell you that this was gonna get good? And somehow, with all that apron space here at Talladega, we stay green. And I told you, the 10 and the 84, if they could tandem up, they were gonna have a shot at this race. They're now hooked up on the bottom of the racetrack. Thomas George has lost any hope of having a friend up at the front of the field. He's a lonely man. We crossed the stripe, 8 laps to go. Kemp is on the back of this train in 10th.
Meatball machine to the front. Anybody paging Jose Gonzalez, oh yeah, he's there. He's on the outside, working on the outside quarter panel of the 1 of Thomas George. He came across the stripe that last time by in 3rd. He's battling for the top spot, nose out in front of the number 1. It's Lacrosse and Gonzalez, 2 guys that have been together almost all race long, working to the outside of George, and Jimmy North does not have the horsepower of that 84 machine to push George back to the front. It's all Gonzalez out of turn 4.
How about Jose Gonzalez as we work on towards the tri-oval? He and Matt Lacrosse have come to life, and I'm not convinced that the 84's done just yet. You hold back and you wait just a little bit. That car looks fairly spotless. I wouldn't say you're ready to make your move just yet. And the big thing, Ted, Gonzalez and Lacrosse don't want to get too far out there. Otherwise, it's game over.
It's classic Talladega or even Daytona in this matter. You never want to get too far out. It's almost never a fact that the guy leading on the last lap is the guy winning the race. And so you're going to want to look back at the 84, the 1, the 21 even, because if Gonzalez gets way too far out there, those other guys are going to be able to grab that nice clean air and shoot right on up. You have a great line of cars right there moving on back to 15 of Dan Murray's trying to make something happen on that high side with that Hershey car of Jet. So maybe they can make something happen on the high side. But so far, that bottom line has been dominant, and Gonzalez has been very fast today. Very fast. He's always been up at the front, and so you can definitely bet that he's going to be there on the last lap. It just depends how far out he gets and if the other guys can get a run on him.
That's the big key right now, and you see the 26 and the 21. Gonzalez and Lacrosse, hang on tight. We're stacking up, guys. Going to the outside to bail out. I think Thomas George just shot up to the high lane to hook up with his teammate, Dan Murray. You see the 91 of Greg Omo back in this, the 18 Jason Swan back in this. Jeff Ward's now tagged the back of this train. 5 laps to go, and we got a whole new host of players, Justin, down to the stripe, and it's the Steel Horse teammates up top now. They want to see if they can make one final run to the front.
The Steel Horse crew comes across the stripe. 5 laps to go here at the Talladega Super Speedway, and off into one goes George. He's got a big head of steam, and don't look now, the winner of the Daytona 250, Rich Jett, he's up inside the top 6. He's on the tail end of that outside train there, and right behind him, about 3 car lengths back on the super stretch, is the number 9 of Jeff Ward. He's got that second group of Steel Horse guys coming along in tow up towards the back of the deck lid of the number 43 Hershey car as well. Jimmy North all alone on the inside, starting to fall off the back end of your front 2 tandem, and Jet works his way now to the inside. That's going to give help to the 84 of Jimmy North, and they'll be right back up there in just a moment, as well as Greg Omo and the 10 of Abbott as well. They're working on the inside line as well, getting hooked back up. 4 to go here at Talladega.
4 laps, a little over 10 miles, and it's still anyone's race. Hold on tight, headed for 1 and 2 once again. Gonzalez, Lacrosse, George, Murray. It's not over down the super stretch. Ted, hang on. This is we're just getting started.
Hang on and fasten your seatbelts. We might just be getting started, but the end is just around the corner, and these drivers know it. So be looking for these big passes and these big moves to the outside and around. Drafting, it's going to be crazy. This is going to be an amazing ending. And it looks like Gonzalez, he's keeping those guys really close. He's keeping that draft, so he's not getting too far ahead of himself. He knows the game plan, and he might think that he's going to be there at the end, but it's anybody's race. The 84 makes a very radical move to the inside, pushing the 15 of Murray up. He's trying to look for spot as they head off into 1.
Into turn number 1 goes Jimmy North on the inside line. He's to the back deck lid of the 1 of Thomas George. It's a 3-car breakaway on the inside line. 5 cars on the high side. Rich Jett, Jeff Ward, all working on the high side, slamming, banging, bomb drafted. Here goes Jimmy North, 3 wide on the back straightaway. Coming to you, Jacob Seelman.
Go! Oh, number 1 gets loose. They're stacking up behind him in 3 and 4. There's a wreck. That's the number 1 of George. He gets spun around. The 15 of Murray as well, slamming into the wall. Black smoke coming from under that hood. We're under caution here. Big wreck in 3 and 4. Those were your top drivers. That was George and Murray. They get collected pretty hard with damage.
And as you see a look at the replay, it all started when the 1 of Thomas George got turned going into 3. That's going to do it, Justin. Jose Gonzalez is in the right place at the right time. He's going to win this one as we're inside of 4 to go. This race will not restart, and the Meatball Mobile, after starting on the pole, gets back there by the time the checkered flag flies.
I was just getting wound up there. Jimmy North, credit to him, did everything he could to get to the lead, but alas, trouble finds the number 1 machine of Thomas George as well. Another strong run for George ends in despair. And that's going to leave us with 1 lap to go this time by coming to the start-finish line. White flag, caution flag waving in the air. And Jose Gonzalez is going to find himself in victory lane once again in the Asphalt Assault Series. Matt Lacrosse is going to come home second, along with the 84 of Jimmy North, rounding out your podium. A great run as well to the 10 of John Abbott, coming home in the 4th spot. All they have to do is make 1 more lap, and that's going to put that Meatball Mobile in victory lane.
Well then, Brian Macklin, I know we didn't hear necessarily a lot from you in these closing laps. I was just getting ready to ask you something about this before all heck broke loose, and that moment when we were all expecting it, weren't we?
Yeah, unfortunately, as the laps wind down, you get more and more aggressive, and you take more risks, and unfortunately, when you start taking more risks, that kind of stuff starts happening, and it's a product of restrictor plate racing, but when it doesn't go wrong like that, it usually ends up with a spectacular finish, and that's what we were on our way to. These guys were going to give us one heck of a show if it had stayed green. Unfortunately, accidents do happen, and we had to end this race under caution. I'm really impressed with Jose Gonzalez. He started from the pole. He lost the lead, and he didn't lose his cool when that happened. He got in line. He just rode around, logged laps, and then when it was time to get back up there, he made the moves, got back up front, and he ended up winning this race.
Oh my, oh my. So Jose Gonzalez is going to wrap this one up, and as we work into turn 3 slowly for the final time, Justin, Gonzalez, Lacrosse, North. How's that for a podium here at Talladega?
I'm actually quite happy with that. Jose, one of the most exciting drivers on the track, a character nonetheless, known for virtually flipping a bird in the chat here in the server. I love that out of a guy like Jose. It just means he doesn't take this too seriously. He's laid back. He's having a good old time. In Lacrosse, a great finish for him again on a plate track. He came home second, I believe, in the Outlaw Truck Series at Daytona, so a strong run for him. Not necessarily unexpected for him. But how about Jimmy North? Man, I'm excited for him. That guy has had a ton of trouble. And as we say that checkered flag in the air, the Meatball Mobile, Jose Gonzalez, takes home this round of the Asphalt Assault Series. He takes the checkered flag, parks that machine in victory lane here tonight here on LSRTV. Great job to the 26 and to the 21 of Matt Lacrosse, and again the 84 of Jimmy North.
Very impressive. Very impressive. It's been a while since we've seen Jose Gonzalez in victory lane. He picked one up in the Full Throttle Cup Series during the chase last fall. Now Gonzalez takes the checkered flag from the pole tonight at Talladega. Ted, that's something we just don't see very often here at Talladega. A win from the pole, you've got to have a good car in order to do that, but you got to have a ton of luck, and that's exactly what that 26 had tonight.
It's one of those things where I say to myself, you know, I'm expecting it because all race long he just had a really fast car, you know, and of course then it doesn't end on a green flag, it ends on a yellow, but that doesn't demoralize it or demean it at all. I mean, he had a very fast car the entire race. I called it wrong. I said, well, if you're leading at the beginning, it doesn't mean you're going to be leading on the last lap, but sometimes it's just how it rolls. And he was out there in front when things got sideways, and I mean, we were all expecting it. You know, it's Talladega, so we're all expecting something to happen, but it's really neat to see somebody from the pole at the very beginning all the way to the end. But I mean, that's what you get when you got a fast car and you got a good driver like Gonzalez.
Gonzalez burning it down on the front straightaway. He takes the win here at the world's fastest super speedway. We'll hear from him and the rest of your top finishers coming up in just a moment. But first, we'll do some business right here on LSR TV. Coming back for the Ford post-race show in just a moment. Gonzalez, your winner, here from Talladega on LSR TV.
Here's the thing that makes life so interesting. The theory of evolution claims only the strong shall survive. Maybe so. Maybe so. But the theory of competition says just because they're the strong doesn't mean they can't get their asses kicked. That's right. See, what every long shot come from behind underdog will tell you is this. The other guy may in fact be the favorite. The odds may be stacked against you, fair enough. But what the odds don't know is this isn't a math test. This is a completely different kind of test. One where passion has a funny way of trumping logic. So before you step up to the starting line, before the whistle blows and the clock starts ticking, just remember out here, the results don't always add up. matter what the stats may say, and the experts may think, and the commentators may have predicted, when the race is on, all bets are off. Don't be surprised if somebody decides to flip the script and take a pass on yelling uncle. And then suddenly, as the old saying goes, we got ourselves a game.
TV as we are continuing and starting the post-race show tonight from the Talladega Super Speedway. And what a night it has been here from the world's fastest speedway as Jose Gonzalez in the Meatball Mobile, as we affectionately call it, picks up the victory. And going to head down to pit road in just a moment and hear from our podium. Brian Macklin, I'll come to you first very quickly while Justin Rosenau's heading over to the 84 pit of Jimmy North. What a race tonight. This was unbelievable at the tail end of it.
Well, tonight you saw a little bit of everything. You saw the single file train that I think we all expected to see at some point during this race. We saw a lot of hard racing at the front. We saw the big one. And we got I don't want to call him a surprise winner, but an out-of-nowhere winner. He was the pole sitter, he fell back, and then he got back up there right at the end. Jose Gonzalez did an incredible job. We had a lot of guys in the top 10 you're not used to seeing, Jimmy North being one of them with his third place, John Abbott, Rich Jett, Greg Omo, Jason Swan. There's a lot of guys up there that got a good finish that you don't normally see up there, and it was a really exciting race.
It was a whole lot of fun, and let's head trackside. Justin Rosenau, I believe you've caught up with one very happy Jimmy North.
It is a extreme pleasure to do this interview. Coming home third tonight, a driver that has had a ton of trouble in all of real sim racing. Coming home tonight in the third spot with a strong run, could have come home with the victory had the green flag stayed out. Jimmy North, how crazy was that last run, man?
Woohoo! I don't know what to say, boys. Man, that was crazy. That one caution that kind of set us up, it brought us from 20th place into about 8th. And I was working with John Abbott, just trying to stay on the bottom because the outside didn't really have a good run. And he kept telling me, stay on the bottom, no matter what. And, man, I tell you, it was close. Just a couple of laps to go there. And Matt Lacrosse had left the bottom open a little bit for me to get a fender in there and possibly challenge Jose for the win. But, man, that was crazy. Seriously, I'd have to go back and look at the finish of the race to see how it all happened.
And Jimmy, I'm so happy for you coming home in the third spot. And like I said, it's a great pleasure to do this interview with you. What would it have taken for you to go from third, possibly second, give or take, where you were on the racetrack when the last scoring loop was? What would it have taken for you, besides the green flag staying out, obviously, to get to the lead and take home the victory?
I'll tell you, it's like you said, it is an honor to finally get an interview here. It's been a long time and some struggles in the past, but I guess the key tonight for myself was to not overheat the engine, because in qualifying, I was pushing some guys around, and once the car got overheated, that was it. It was done. But as far as the outcome of winning, gosh, I really don't know. I mean, Thomas George went to the outside there, and I think he was all by himself, and that's where I got past him. And then Matt Lacrosse, got to the outside. I think if John may have been a little bit closer, John Abbott that is, we may have been able to do something to get to the outside, but, just the spotter was going nuts, cars outside, 3 wide, and all that stuff. But ideally, it would have been, I guess the perfect situation is that the 26 could have gone high to try and block the high side, and then I may have had a run for the win.
Sponsors, shoutouts, Jimmy. Who really makes it happen for you on the 84?
Oh man, everybody, Chevrolet, Lowe's. It's been a long time, but I want to thank all the admins: Steve Herring, Matt Lacrosse, Dwayne Vincent, John Abbott, Joey Katina, Keith Brooks, and hopefully I'm not forgetting any of the other guys. But also you guys here up in the booth at broadcast every week, man. This is awesome. I'm stoked. I feel like I just won a race.
That's your third place finisher, Jimmy North, in the number 84. Now up pit lane, we're going to go to our second place finisher. That's Matt Lacrosse.
All right, and we've caught up with Matt Lacrosse down here on pit road. Matt, you've had a crazy night tonight. We watched you make a lot of insane moves. We watched you get up to the front and have a really good shot at the win. What was it like from the driver's seat tonight, being up there racing with those guys and having a shot to win the race?
Well, I mean, it was fun. I hate it ended the way it did. I mean, Chad had some electrical issues, and we were going to run to the front, kind of hang out, and then I had to find a new person to hang out with, and Jose was right there, and I've raced with Jose a lot, so my idea was on that last restart, just push him to the front and as much as I could, and just try to hold it off. And on that last caution with Thomas and Dan and those guys, I mean, I feel bad, but I was trying to stop their momentum on the outside while trying to keep behind Jose, but I was getting warm, so I'm trying to cool it off and doing all these things at once, and I completely forgot about Jimmy North, and he stuck his nose underneath me going down the backstretch, and I'm like, man, it's too late. I can't go back down to the bottom. So I just kind of stayed there in the middle, hoping Jose would see that I was in the middle, and I had a Carlo, and I don't know if Thomas didn't know we were 3 wide or whatever. We went in the corner, and he didn't really give me any room, and I was kind of blind. I didn't know what was going on, and I looked at the replay, and there was a little net code in there. I mean, I never touched him, but the computer said I did. The game said I did, so I feel bad for that. But I might get docked. The admins are making a decision right now whether I actually get scored with a second place finish or whether I get an EOL here. So, I mean, either way, I hate that netcode had to ruin Thomas's and Dan's race and all those other guys involved. But yeah, it was a good time going up to the front. I love restricted plate racing. But glad Jose got the win. I just hope I get to keep my second place.
Yeah, and we hope you get to keep it too. It was a crazy finish, and we saw a lot of action there. Talk about how hard it is to run these races without a teammate and having to change teammates multiple times throughout the race. You talked about how you were working with Jimmy North and how you were working with Jose Gonzalez and several others throughout the race. How difficult is it to do that throughout the entire race, having to jump from one teammate to the next throughout the whole race?
Well, when you can't communicate, like me and Chad were talking to each other over the radio. We had a private channel, and I didn't have a channel for Jose, so luckily, Chad made a channel and made it all happen while he was either racing. I don't know how he did it, but he got us all together in the same channel, so we could talk. And I mean, it's difficult, especially with this aero package that iRacing has put together for all the restrictor plate races. It's really difficult to pass. You can't push for very long because you get really hot. Then it takes forever to cool down. So I mean, it's more difficult than it probably needs to be, and it's really boring. And you said earlier that I was weaving all. I'm bored. I'm just going to the high side, come back down behind Jose, just kind of breaking the monotony, just following the car in front of you. And I think some of the other guys didn't really like me doing that, but I made sure I didn't really wreck anybody in the process. So just me out there having fun. I mean, I wish we could make these races 10 laps, and it'd be just as exciting than the other 65. So. But I'm glad we got top 3. Glad to talk to you guys. I want to thank you guys for doing the awesome broadcast you guys do, and thank Quick Car Racing Products, McDonald's, Sim Racing Graphics, and I'll see you guys on Monday.
And you beat me to what I was getting ready to do. Is there any other shout-outs you need to make? Any teammates you want to talk about, or anybody that was at home watching? You definitely kept it interesting for everybody at home.
No. My teammate was Chad Colesman, the teammate that's here. The other two don't race in the series, I don't think. That we do on Mondays. But no, just you guys at LSRTV do an awesome job. RSR is a great league. I try to race as much as I can. I'm already thanked all my sponsors. So see you guys at Talladega on Monday.
All right, and that was Matt Lacrosse, your second place finisher here tonight at the Talladega Superspeedway. I believe we are going down to victory lane with Jacob Seelman. He is with the winner.
This is going to be fun. I know it's been a little bit since we've gotten to do this. I think it was last fall at Kansas, if I'm not mistaken, the last time Jose Gonzalez won one of these RSR broadcast events. But Jose, you get it done tonight at Talladega. It's your 4th career Asphalt Assault victory, and boy, did you just come calling there on the high lane at the end of this one. Talk about that last restart, getting the push to get to the front, and then being able to stay there. I mean, you had everybody coming at you in the final laps.
Yeah, first of all, you didn't have to rub that in, okay? But yeah, we I was just running by myself all race, and I was trying to be in the top five. I'm racing for points, and I know Dega is a crapshoot, and anything can happen. So I was just trying to survive in the front, and when I got the lead up there in the start of the race, I just hugged that line, and I was just hoping to stay there. And when that caution came out, and I had to restart, I don't know, I was maybe 16th or something like that, and all of a sudden I see Matt Lacrosse nearby. I see that everybody else is hooked up together, and all of a sudden Chad Cole private messaged me and told me that he could change me in TeamSpeak with Matt, and I said, all right, let's do it, and we got together. We made our move. We got up front, and that was that.
It was certainly a pairing that worked in the final laps. And I know for a while we were just watching you there, Jose, without a teammate, just really having to go it alone. How tough was that for you most of this race, being up there and really not having a lot of friends?
Well, yeah. It's this package and this package we have right now, and the way it works, it's very difficult to pass. And so I mean, if you just hug the low line, you just stay there, and you just make it very difficult to everybody else to pass you on the outside. So, you know, the only problem is that you're gonna just stay where you are and maybe drop a few spots, but you're not going anywhere. So you know, if you don't have teammates, it's not gonna affect you that much, except at the end of the race. So during the race, it's not that bad. It's not that important. What's important is to hook up with somebody at the end of the race so you can make your move, and that's what we did. And thanks to Matt, he's great pushing. I mean, I've raced with Matt before a lot, and he did a great job pushing the car without blowing up, and as soon as he got clear of that second spot, you know, we dropped underneath and we hugged that line, and you know, unfortunately it didn't end well, but I hear it was a little you know, glitch there, but you know, I think this win is basically all Matt, because he's the one that made the push.
Jose, obviously, when we get back racing on Monday night, we're going to be at Talladega again. Did you learn anything tonight that you guys can apply to the Cup car on Monday night and maybe replicate this success?
Yeah, the Cup car in Dega, it drives very similar. So you're probably gonna see basically a very similar race, and yeah, I know. I guess I know when to make the move, and hopefully have a teammate on Monday night that either, I mean, I was fine pushing or being pushed is the same thing. You know, when you're at Dega, you really don't go for the win more than just survive. And but you know, I got lucky today and I got the win.
And I know that's not possible by yourself. Sponsors, shout out supporters, anybody you need to thank. Jose, who makes it happen for you in the 2016?
Yeah, the meatball company, best meatballs in Puerto Rico. Hashtag got balls. And I like to thank my teammates, CJ and Stefan. They I'm an unofficial teammate of them, and thanks to Matt Lacrosse and for the push he gave me today. It was very unselfish of him, so I'm appreciative of that. And thank you guys and Laura for a great job you guys do every week.
Well, Jose, we know you're having fun with this, and we know you're going to go celebrate. Congratulations, my friend. We'll see you Monday night.
Thank you very much. I see you on Monday, man.
That's it from down here in Gatorade Victory Lane. And Justin Rosenau, I believe we have results to get to, my friend.
Indeed, we do. And we obviously know 1, 2, 3 with Gonzalez, Lacrosse, and Jimmy North rounding out your podium. Going positions 4 through 10, going to be the 10 of John Abbott coming home 4th. Rich Jett in the 43, he rounds out your top 5. 91 of Greg Olmo comes home 6th. The 9 of Jeff Ward comes home in the 7th spot. The 18 of Jason Swan comes home 8th. In the 9th spot, the 65, Ed Williams Jr. rounding out your top 10. The 2 of J. Randall Watkins.
Finishing in the 11th position tonight was the number 41 of Mitch Rollo. William Kempth was 12th in the number 22. Paul Williams II was in the 13th position, driving the number 88 Tax Slayer machine tonight. Anthony DeBarro from the Boomtown car, he finished P14 in the number 46. Dan Murray, part of the Steel Horse crowd, he finished P15 in the number 15. Quite a coincidence there. Kevin Pearson got P16. Scott Simley was 17th. Brian Clark was 18th. David Killiel was in the number 75. He finished 19th. And Thomas George, after getting caught up in that last wreck, he finished 20th tonight.
2 laps down was Thomas George. 21st was Christopher Hurlow. 22nd, Chad Cole. Out of the race in 23rd was James Thorndike. Steve Herring, the last car running, he was 24th. 25th, Scott Granberg. 26th, Keith Brooks Jr. 27th, Mark Bratcher. 28th, Derek Hyatt. 29th, David Kamara. 30th, J.R. Johnson and Brian Harvey rounding out the field. All of those cars, 25th on back, were out of the race. Granberg really one of the dominant forces, but Jose Gonzalez, the man who leads the most laps, gets the job done. Brian, what a race tonight. Gonzalez leading 30 of 75, but he had to come back late. Didn't take the lead for the final time until 8 laps to go to win it.
Yeah, that was just a product of once he got shuffled out of the lead, he just kind of settled in. He didn't rush it. He didn't feel like he needed to get back up front. He didn't panic, basically, and he did a good job getting back up there. It was a really exciting race. I enjoyed tonight. I think this was the best race that we've done in a while. These guys put on a lot of action, and it was just awesome.
Justin, it's always fun when the Meatball Mobile goes to victory lane, but I think the story of tonight is not just Jose Gonzalez winning this race, but all the names that end up in the top 10 that we're not used to seeing there. Jimmy North, John Abbott, Rich Jett, Greg Omo, Jason Swan, Ed Williams Jr., J. Randall Watkins. I mean, about 4 of these guys we expect to be there on a regular basis. And again, how many times have we heard it said? The draft is the great equalizer, and we see that tonight. Score 1 for the little guys.
Yeah, score 1 for the little guys, indeed. You know, I'm just surprised. I mean, you can't really count out, some of the guys that got wrecked out of the race in the late going, like the 59 of Thorndike, the 81 of Keith Brooks Jr. Mind you, Keith Brooks had the lead inside of about 15 or so to go, give or take. So, I'm completely happy with tonight's race. I am worn out. That was intense. I was kind of up on the wheel, so to speak. I was just riding along with the guys and just being a huge fan of the racing here tonight. Great runs by everybody. It's tough to see the caution flag come out there in the late stages, but it seems like it always happens in the late stages. So for what we got to see here tonight, Jacob, I think it was some of the best racing we've seen all year.
I will definitely agree with that, and I will close with this. It was fun, it was wild, and arguably the best car at the end of the night won this race. So congratulations one more time to the Meatball Machine and Jose Gonzalez for picking up his first RSR broadcast win in about 7 months or so, going back to that race at Kansas in the Full Throttle Cup Series last fall. The last time before tonight, he was able to get it done. I know he was joking with us in Victory Lane. Don't rub it in, or we don't have to. He's in Victory Lane tonight at Talladega. Congratulations to the Wolfpack. Gonzalez gets it done for all of us at LSRTV. For Brian, Justin, and Ted, I'm Jacob Seelman for LSRTV and our executive producer, Laura Lawson. Keep it off the wall until we meet again, and we'll see you next time on the web. Good night from Talladega.